Joining me now is the general manager of Houston Grand Opera, Khori Dastoor. She's going to be talking about the 2024-2025 season, six exciting performances. Khori, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Len. So great to see you.
So I read a quote in your reference to the next season. You said, in pertaining to the shows, it's going to be truly madly, deeply magical. What does that mean?
Well, opera means a lot of different things to different people, but one of the most common themes I hear is my wife and I went to the opera together on our first date. My husband proposed to me in the lobby of the Wortham. When I see a woman on a dating app and I really want to impress her, I get us tickets to the opera. And I realized this operatic experience is a really incredibly romantic one for a lot of people. And then, in thinking about the great operas of history, they're all love stories. So we decided truly madly deeply this season at Houston Grand Opera is a celebration of that unbridled passion, that incredible, overpowering romantic love that can consume people and make them do, in the case of some of these operas, really crazy things. But we're inviting our audience to really revel in that, to share with us their own personal opera love stories, to maybe be transported through nostalgia or through new relationships to exciting romantic experience at the opera this year.
So for the upcoming season, 2024-2025 starts next fall, six performances, six operas, everything from West Side Story to Cinderella to Tannhauser to Trovatore. I mean, I'm just looking at all the different. So love seems to be the centerpiece.
Right.
How did you come upon or decide on these six? Some are old classics. One is groundbreaking and relatively new. So how did you decide?
Well, we always like to have a balance. We have such a diverse city. And, when I'm looking at this is an amazing graphic. I will send it to you, Len. But when I'm looking at the addresses in our database of where our ticket buyers come from, it's not all over the country. It's all over the world. I think, oh my gosh, someone in South Africa just bought a ticket. Oh my God, someone with a Guam address just bought a ticket.
Really?
And it's incredible. And that's Houston. People who are coming to the opera bring their own relationships with their home countries, with opera as an art form. And we are trying to really make sure that we are welcoming all the various people who make Houston their home. And so our buffet of offerings has to be really diverse as well. There has to be stuff for families. That's really important to me. We have a young, thriving, growing city. I'm raising two young children myself. So the Rossini Cinderella gives us the opportunity through a new initiative called HGO Family Day to say, come on, welcome to a casual, multi-generational performance on a Saturday morning at the right price point. You can be yourself, you can wriggle, you can chat. It's absolutely fine. We're here not to judge you, but to enjoy this gorgeous music together. And then Tannhäuser, one of Wagner's most iconic scores, music that we've all heard that requires so much of our chorus. We're going to have 80 singers up there. Absolutely singing to the rafters. And we want to show that wide spectrum. Now, love takes a lot of different forms. In the case of La Boheme, we have classic young love, right? Sort of earnest, first time love. And in West Side Story, we have kids. And they're teenagers. They don't know how to handle the feelings that they're experiencing, but their love against this backdrop of bigotry and hate and anti-immigrant sentiment, right? Their love is sort of the inspiration of the piece, a call to action, if you will, to get our acts together for the next generation.
So I know as general manager, this might be hard, but I'm asking you to be objective. I don't think most people realize that HGO is considered one of the nation's premier opera houses. Am I right?
Absolutely. And I would go further than that, Len. If you're in a European country and you say Houston Grand Opera, people know what that means. They know the pieces of work that have come out of our company. They certainly know David Gockley, and they know all around the world that Houston is a city that takes the arts very seriously. And we're very proud to continue that legacy.
You talked about the variety in the stories that are coming. So I'm looking at the Wagner piece, Cinderella, La Boheme, um, Trovador. They're all early to mid 19th century. The two exceptions, West Side Story,
1957.
1957, and then
Yes,
okay, so let's talk about Missy Mazzoli's Breaking the Waves. Not
let's
only
talk
is
about
it
it.
it's about love, but this is daring and this is adult, right?
This is adult. This is not for young audiences. It's based on the art film from Lars von Trier, a Danish filmmaker who's known for his shocking and truly, truly innovative style. It tells the story of love, yes, but um, against the backdrop of a very fundamentalist society in a very remote Calvinist sect in Scotland. Um, a young bride, very pious, very virginal, if you will, very new to the world, weds Jan, an oil worker who suffers an accident on a rig and becomes paralyzed. And in their effort to stay sexually connected as a couple, he instructs her to have experiences with other men and then share them with him by his bedside. And through that process, a very mystical and sort of a psychological thriller unfolds for all of us. It is challenging. It is shocking. Um, it is exactly what Missy Mazzoli wanted it to be, which is lyrically very beautiful, but disturbing in content. And like the film, it changes you. It's very thought provoking. And I'm very proud that we have an audience who is willing to be challenged, an audience who is interested in material that pushes the boundary. And Missy is one of the most important living composers. She is the only woman to have ever been commissioned by the Metropolitan Opera, at least for the last 100 years. This is an important piece of art, and we're very proud to be presenting it in Houston and be recording it for the very first time. So we'll be able to provide a commercial recording of this piece on Apple Classical and other platforms for the
Wow.
entire.
What I found amazing, you're talking about Missy Mazzoli, is first of all, she's quite young. She's only 43. She grew up in rural Pennsylvania, um,
Yes.
and yet she has this astounding gift. You know what I mean? And so I
Yes.
became a fan just reading about her because here's what she said. She said she started composing at age 10, inspired by human beings who are endless inspiration. Human relationships succeed, fail, we screw everything up. Uh, and then here's where she got me, Khori. She said, the news is like an opera. I agree.
Yes. Some days that's sadly true, isn't it, Len? Yes. Yes. And I think for Patrick and myself to have Tannhäuser and Breaking the Waves happening at the same time is really an important thing because we see these two composers from different eras grappling with similar themes of passion, lust, fundamentalist religion, and oppression. And come out with very different expressions, but they really are talking to each other all the time. And Missy's comment is so salient because it is the news. These stories of what we do to each other as humans and how we need each other, they continue again and again and again throughout time and throughout every culture. So that's why we're hoping, and we know that this season there'll be something for everyone to love.
So, how do you balance in this choice, this process, the shocking versus the traditional, well-known slash popular?
Well, I am always thinking about the artists first. Who are the very best, most important artists that we can showcase? We only do have a certain number of productions that we're able to highlight, and it's my job as the leader of the company to curate the most excellent slate of offerings possible. So I go after those artists first. Rossini's Cenerentola has quite an interesting history at Houston Grand Opera. It's only been performed by very few mezzo-sopranos, Joyce DiDonato being one of them, Cecilia Bartoli being one of them in her American debut. Marie Ewing being one of them. So it had to be Isabel Leonard. She's the most important mezzo today. This is her signature role. Eileen Perez, our beautiful Chocho-san in this year's Madame Butterfly, wanted to sing her first Trovatore. She's ready for it. It's a vehicle for all of those singers who are coming. So that's where I start. And then I ask myself, how do I create stories that are going to really speak to something that's happening in today's world and give us an opportunity to learn more about ourselves? And that's where these titles emerge. We're so excited. This is years of planning, sometimes a decade of planning. But more than that, it's decades and decades of building the company up to a place where it has the performing forces, the orchestra, the chorus, the staff, the know-how to pull off these immensely challenging works. And what pleases me more than anything is how the public in Houston is responding. We are seeing ticket sales really, really growing at a time when that's not the case in other cities. We're seeing donations really growing, the most number of new donors ever in the history of the company.
Really?
And that indeed, and that over 800 new donors in last season alone. So that gives me tremendous hope for the future, and it helps fuel my artistic ambitions to really go bold.
So because HGO has the reputation it has, I'm sure it gives you the flexibility and the leverage to say to some composers, no, thank you. Yes?
Oh, well, because HGO has the reputation for championing new work, I probably get 3 or 4 or 5 submissions a week.
Oh,
And I will tell you the number of artists who are composing operas today that I would like to commission, I would say that's about 25 or 30 people who I think are really worthy of a main stage commission. I can't do 30 operas a year. And for world premieres, that can be, as you saw with Intelligence, a very long. So we've invested in Joel Thompson. He's got an incredible project next season. The Oral Histories project's coming out. And we're investing in Missy and hopefully many more to come. But it is always difficult to select who you think is worthy of the company's resources. And Missy is certainly that. It would be more of a commentary on HGO if we didn't produce a work by Missy.
who decides, Khori, who's going, once you decide on the performance, you know who the composer is, you know what the work is, who decides who's going to sing?
Well, it depends. We have a wonderful team of people who travel the world all over to hear operas. In fact, I just got back from Barcelona yesterday, hearing an incredible production that I think would do really well in Houston.
Wow.
But I have an entire artistic staff of people who are seeing local things, small things at colleges, at universities.
So help me out here. So you're looking for the right fit for the right performance.
We make it our business to know what's going on in our art form. So we could hear a voice at the age of 21 and say, this person's going to sing this 5 years from now. And we have, probably like a sports team, a large database called Arts Vision, where we have all of the notes we've ever taken about every singer we've ever heard and every performance or every audition. And that data compiles to be thousands of artists over time. But ultimately, when it comes to principal roles and principal casting, Patrick and I work together on that. And we often disagree and there's lively debates, but I think that the public is the happy recipient of that healthy discussion, and they can be confident that we have truly scoured the globe. In the case of these title artists, the principal artists who are carrying the entire evening, it had to be Lauren Snofer, it had to be Ryan McKinney to do Breaking the Waves. You simply can't cast for that unless you know that an actor has the depth to pull off that evening. This is incredibly challenging material. So in those cases, we wouldn't do the title if we didn't already know who we wanted to secure in that title role.
Wow. It's incredible. It's difficult work. As you said, there are disagreements in the process, but we'll see what the result is. Thank you so much, Khori Dastoor, General Manager of Houston Grand Opera, one of the nation's premier.
And you know what? I welcome the discussion. If people don't like Breaking the Waves, go ahead and email me. I want to hear all about it. Thank you so much, Len.
Fascinating. 2024, 2025. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.